Hello again, everyone. Thank you for letting me know that the sound check worked well. For those of you who have just signed on, my name is Sienna Peru-Cook. I am Dragon Trail's Communications Manager, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the June edition of Dragon Trail's monthly webinar series. Today's topic about Weibo for travel marketing is a topic that I actually think is very fun and interesting, and I'm very excited to share with everyone here today. On our agenda today, I'll first give a brief introduction to the Sina Weibo platform, and then talk about the ways in which this Chinese social media is different from WeChat, which is the other major platform, which I think we talk about a bit more with Dragon Trail, but we're shifting the focus today to Weibo. I will share a lot of tips on what good Weibo content looks like and what's involved in an ideal Weibo strategy. Then I'll share 3 case studies, give a quick overview of advertising on Weibo, and finish up with a Q&A session. As usual with our webinars, you can ask questions at any point during the webinar, but we ask that you please do so using the Q&A button that you should see on your Zoom control panel and not the chat function. And that's because if you use the Q&A button, the questions get logged in a way that is very easy to see and make sure that I respond to at the end. Whereas in the chat area, they tend to get a little bit lost if there are too many messages. And I will answer all of the questions at the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. I will also be sending out a link to a recording of this webinar session and a PDF of all the slides to all the attendees in the coming days, so you'll have all of that for reference. So before we get started, just a few introductions for those of you who may not have joined our webinars before. My name is Sienna Peru-Cook. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Dragon Trail's Communications Manager. In addition to running many of our webinars, I also write reports and articles for the Dragon Trail website. I help to create our China Outbound Travel Pulse video series, which you can find on our website, as well as on the China Outbound Travel Pulse YouTube channel. I put together our free monthly newsletter, which you can sign up for on our website. There will be a new edition of that coming out tomorrow. And I run our social media accounts on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, where you can follow us if you are not already. Dragon Trail Interactive, which celebrates its 10th anniversary this year, is a digital marketing and solutions agency that focuses exclusively on Chinese outbound tourism. We work with travel brands around the world to help them reach Chinese consumers and the Chinese travel trade. We're headquartered in Beijing with offices in Shanghai and Xi'an, as well as international offices in London, where I'm based, and in Lexington, Kentucky in the US. We work with clients on every continent except Antarctica, including tourism boards, hotels, airlines, attractions, and other types of tourism brands. So getting started with the webinar content today, first of all, what is Weibo and why is it important? Officially, the name is Sina Weibo, as the platform was launched in 2009 by internet company Sina.cn. And there was at one point a 10-cent Weibo as well, but this one never really took off in the same way. So generally, if people say Weibo, they're referring to Sina Weibo. And I will refer to it as Weibo throughout the webinar today. Weibo translates directly from Chinese as microblog. And Sina Weibo was modeled after Twitter, but it has developed in different ways over the past decade, and now it actually has a higher market value and more active users than Twitter does. Weibo used to be China's #1 social media platform for quite some time, but it started to fall behind when WeChat was really taking off around 2014 and 2015. And it went into a few years of decline. However, Weibo has had a renaissance in the past several years with very strong revenue and user growth. Now it has over 460 million monthly active users as of December last year, and almost 200 million of those have indicated that they have an interest in travel. So it's quite relevant in our industry. So for those of you who haven't used Weibo, what does it look like? So here are some examples of travel-related posts, and you can see in which ways the posts look similar to Twitter and in which ways they don't. On the left-hand side is some photo content, also with text. Weibo used to have a 140 character limit the same way Twitter did, but it got rid of that limit quite a long time ago before Twitter did. And now there is not a limit on how much text you can post, just a limit on how much is displayed before you have to click on a button for the full text. Another difference between Twitter and Weibo is that Weibo allows you to post 9 photos together that are displayed in this 9 photo layout that you can see in the post on the top left. So those 2 photo posts are by Chinese tourists. The one on the top is from a trip to Scotland, and the one on the bottom is from a trip to Graceland in Tennessee. Short video is the other kind of content that I've shown on the right-hand side here. And short video content has really driven Weibo's comeback in the past couple of years. So I have examples here on the bottom of a short video made by a Chinese tourist in Oxford in the UK, and then on the top of an official tourism marketing video, which was published by Edinburgh's Tourism Board. One new feature on Weibo is 360 degrees image content, and here's an example of that feature in action on the Visit Florida Weibo account. So let's talk about Weibo versus WeChat. And what I'd like to stress here is that this really isn't an either-or situation, and it's not about which platform is better. Both platforms stand out for different things, and ideally brands would have both. So Weibo doesn't have many of the practical functionalities that WeChat does, such as payment, but Weibo does have advantages of its own. So in terms of demographics, WeChat and Weibo, they're both quite young. I do have some statistics here from both platforms, but it's a little bit hard to compare them for a number of reasons. First of all, there's so much data that it was impossible to get everything on one slide. So we can only see Weibo on the one slide and WeChat on the next slide. But on top of that, another complication is that the data released by Weibo and the data released by WeChat, they split up the age segments differently. So you can't compare things exactly, even looking at them side by side. However, I can say that Weibo's user base is a little bit younger than WeChat's is, and it's an especially good platform for reaching Chinese who are in their 20s. So this is some data from Sina Weibo on the age of users who have indicated that they're interested in travel, and nearly 70% of those are under the age of 30. So here to compare are WeChat's last official age statistics. And these showed that most of the users of WeChat were between 18 and 35 years old. Though keep in mind that the last time they released this official data was 2015, so all of those users have obviously aged 4 years in the meantime. However, WeChat does have a near total penetration rate of Chinese internet users, so we can assume that some younger users have joined the platform in those past 4 years as well. The most recent data that Tencent has officially released on WeChat users' age is based on WeChat mini program users. And that data shows us that actually only 43% of mini program users are under the age of 30. So we can see from that that WeChat users are maybe slightly older than the average Weibo user is. Because Weibo is a totally open platform, unlike WeChat, where you only see content that is posted by people who are already your contacts on WeChat or by accounts that you're already following on WeChat, that means that reach is much higher on Weibo than it is on WeChat, and it's much easier for content to go viral. The reach of posts on Weibo, it's not publicly available like it is on WeChat, where you can see on WeChat how many views each article has got. You can't see that publicly on Weibo, but of course you are able to see it for your own account. So we get to see that kind of data for the accounts that we run and manage on Weibo and WeChat. So just to give some comparison here, I have the results for one European city's social media accounts over the past year. And over the past year, their top WeChat post got around 9,500 views. and their top Weibo post made over 3 million impressions. So at this point, you may be ready to abandon WeChat altogether if you're reaching so many more people on Weibo. But it's also important to point out that what is measured here is different between the two platforms. So on WeChat, users actually have to click on your article and read it for you to get that reach number. The view number is a better way of putting it. Whereas on Weibo, it's just based on getting displayed on somebody's timeline. So the bar is much lower, and you can't be sure that all 3 million of those people really clicked on and interacted with the content. I should also note here, because there was a question this morning about the difference in likes between WeChat and Weibo, and somebody asked about why people don't click the like button so much on Weibo. That's actually not true. Maybe this isn't the best example to show about likes. People on Weibo do click like quite a lot, and they are more likely to click on like than to comment on something or to repost it. It just happens to be with this particular article that got the highest reach, had many more comments and shares and reposts than it did get likes. So one great tool that Weibo provides is a free reputation management and keyword tracking tool. And this is available at the website wrd.cn. Everything is in Chinese there, but of course most or all of the content on Weibo is also in Chinese, so that makes sense. So using that website, you can type in any keyword and see up to 7 days of data on the frequency of that keyword on Weibo, as well as a related word cloud. So this week I looked up travel in France, just to give an example, and I found a word cloud that was mostly positive. It also highlights some areas of France that Weibo users are talking about the most, including Paris, Nice, and Mont Saint-Michel. Some of the other topics that came up were eating, abbey, photography, lavender. We would expect to see this keyword more in the summer when it's lavender season, and visiting lavender fields in France is a big draw for Chinese tourists. Culture, hotel, tourism visa, friendly, and then the only kind of negative things in that word cloud are about lost and theft, police report, police station, and we can see the words happy and unhappy both together in that word cloud. So it is quite positive. So you can use this kind of tool for your own reputation management, or even to do competitor analysis as well and see how you might compare to a different kind of keyword or business or destination. I should also say that, so this reputation management and keyword tracking tool, it's only available for free if you are looking at up to the last 7 days of content. However, Dragon Trail has its own reputation monitoring tool that covers longer periods of time and also covers more websites and platforms, including Chinese travel review websites like Mafengwo. So we are able to compile kind of bigger and more intensive analysis on reputation management. So moving on to talk about KOLs, or key opinion leaders. Generally speaking, KOLs prefer to use Weibo rather than WeChat as a social media platform. And this is because you can reach more people using Weibo, since it's such an open platform, and these KOLs can get much bigger follower numbers on Weibo. So if you are serious about a Weibo strategy, you definitely need to make KOL engagement a key part of it. Because on Weibo, it's really about engagement and stimulating a conversation that many people are taking part in. And so official brand content is important, but it's really just not enough on this platform. So in these two pictures, we can start to see the differences in content between the two platforms, based on what is essentially the same post by the same KOL. So her Weibo post on the left has very little text, as you can see, and the photos, the 9 photos, are the most important element in the post. All of this is complemented by emojis, those 3 colored hearts, and some hashtags at the end of her posts. Whereas on WeChat, the photos are interspersed with long segments of text talking about the topic of color combinations. And actually, the content on the Weibo post is also about color combinations, but she's summed it up very quickly in one sentence, where she's written more of an essay on color combinations featuring the same photos on WeChat. Finally, some very good news about Weibo is that it's much easier to get an account, an official account on Weibo than it is on WeChat. Actually, anyone can sign up for a Weibo account just using their phone number, and there's no real difference between an individual account and an official account, the same way that there is on WeChat. However, we would advise getting your account verified, which still takes, it can take some time, especially if you're a government organization, so a national tourism board or a destination marketing organization for a city or a state, for instance. However, in that case, it still doesn't take as much time as it does to get verified on WeChat, and the service is free. So I just have some examples here to show you an airline, a hotel group, a city, and a museum, which all have accounts on Weibo, and they're all verified. So this next section is what I think is the really fun part of today's webinar, where we'll be looking at all of the little things that you can do to create content that stands out on Weibo. So as we already saw from the 2 KOL posts that we looked at just a few slides ago, Weibo content is very different from WeChat content. So on Weibo, you only have about 3 seconds to grab someone's attention. So you want to get your message across quickly and in an eye-catching way. You should avoid posts that are too dense in terms of text, and make use of the fact that you can post as much as you want on Weibo. So this is very different from WeChat as well, where on WeChat, if you have a subscription account, you're limited to posting once per day. And if you have a service account, you can only post 4 times a month. However, on Weibo, you can post as often as you like. So it means you can really post more timely content and respond to the latest news or trends. So we recommend ideally posting about 3 or 4 times a day on Weibo, although you should be posting, I would say, at least 1 time a day. So because Weibo is a much faster platform in this way, it's where Chinese web users are more likely to look for the latest news over a platform like WeChat. I mentioned before about Weibo's 9-photo display and how you can use that. So there are just a couple of examples here, one post from TripAdvisor's account and one from Peru, to give some examples of how you can take advantage of this format to attract attention with your Weibo posts. Short video, as I mentioned before, is really the key to understanding Weibo's recent success. And there are 4 billion short video views every day on the platform. Weibo has 3 different video platforms that it supports. So the first one is called Weibo Stories, which is more for user-generated content. The second one is Miaopai, which is through a short video app called Miaopai, which is integrated into Weibo. And then the third one is Kuran, which is a video platform which is only available with a license for making professional videos. However, I think that it's possible just to focus on Miaopai here, and it seems like most people are using Miaopai for their videos. So I have 3 examples here. The videos on either end are videos that users have created based on their tourism in Europe and posted to Weibo. And then in the middle is a short video that's professionally created from a KOL, and that video has almost 300,000 views. And all 3 of those videos are created with Miaopai. So it can be like a 10-second video or a more professionally produced video, and it's all right to use Miaopai for all of those. Some other ways to use visual media on Weibo includes posting long photos and GIFs. So on the left-hand side here is an example of the long photos. So these are photos that they're not just the square that you can see displayed on Weibo, but you have to click on them to expand to see the whole photo. And that is indicated in the small orange boxes that the red arrows are pointing to. And then on the right-hand side is a post from the New Zealand Tourism Board with some gifts in it. And again, those are indicated with the small orange boxes that we have the red arrows pointing to that you have to click on to see the effect. So these long photos and the gifts, they increase user interest and engagement. Hashtags are very important on Weibo for a number of different reasons. First of all, if you have a Weibo account, you should either create your own hashtags and or use hashtags that relate to your brand that are popular and use those consistently on your content. It's also a very good way if you're using those kinds of hashtags consistently, or especially creating your own hashtag, to find user-generated content, which is extremely important on Weibo, as we'll talk about quite a lot later. Hashtags will also help you to keep up with and take advantage of trending topics on Weibo. So on Weibo, there's actually a section in the app called Hot Topics. So if you have Weibo, basically you go to, at the bottom of the Weibo display screen, there's a button that says Discover, and you press that, and then you will find an area called Hot Topics, and that shows you what is trending at the minute. And so you can take advantage of some of those topics if they relate to your brand. So please note that Chinese hashtags are a little bit different from the hashtags that we use on Western social media, and that they both start and end with the hash sign instead of just having one at the front. So I have a couple of examples here of using hashtags, and we'll look at more later. The first one is a post from Peru during, well, it's really a repost during the last World Cup. It was a game between Peru versus Denmark. So obviously the World Cup was trending on Weibo, and lots of people were looking at this topic. So they took advantage of that to tie into something to do with Peru. And then on the right-hand side is a post from Airbnb where it was a campaign that they ran, and they made up their own hashtag for the campaign. And so that helped with the branding of the campaign, and then also tracking if other people were talking about that campaign on Weibo. Next up is emojis. Emojis are a really great way to break up text on Weibo. As I mentioned before, you want to avoid having very big, dense chunks of text. And emojis are a good way of avoiding doing this and making your text more fragmented, and also making the text more expressive and interesting to look at. Example on the right-hand side here is of a Weibo user who traveled to Norway. And so from this example, you can see just how much Weibo users tend to use emojis in their posts as well. So if you use emojis, it can help to kind of match the same register and communication style as your followers and connect to them that way. And then on the left is an example from the New Zealand Tourism Board. They are very good at using emojis to break up and illustrate their text and kind of give more emotion, so that you can see immediately from looking at it the kinds of feelings that they're trying to convey through the post without having to read all of the text. I've heard that somebody has lost sound, so I just want to check if you could send me a quick chat if you can still hear me. Okay, great. Okay, I'll keep going then by talking about user-generated content. So Weibo it's not just about brand content, and it's not even about KOL content. I mean, it's about all of these kinds of content, but user-generated content is extremely important on Weibo, and it's quite easy to engage with since Weibo is so open compared to WeChat. Hashtags are also key to finding and engaging with this kind of user-generated content. So naturally, consumers are going to trust recommendations from their peers, other Chinese travelers, over official content. So you want to encourage and repost good user-generated content whenever you can. So I've just got a few examples here from left to right, from Visit Edinburgh, the Chicago Art Institute, and Robinson Club Resorts, who have all found user-generated content that looks really good and then reposted that from their account on Weibo. User-generated content and interacting with your followers on Weibo go hand in hand, and you should always be thinking about how to increase interaction. So you can do this by asking and answering questions and creating a dialogue with your followers. I have a really good example here of two different posts. They're both by the Spanish Tourism Board. They were posted about 6 weeks apart from each other. They both feature short videos. They both use the same hashtags, and they both have text that is about the same length. However, the post on the left-hand side asked a question. It asked, which Spanish city would you like to visit? So a very simple question. And we can see from the number of reposts and comments and likes just how much more interaction that post got and how much more attention it got on Weibo. So in addition to kind of increasing the interaction, asking questions can also be a really good way of doing market research. So asking a question like, what would you most like to do in this city, or which city would you most like to visit in this country? Things like that can give you a good idea of what your followers on Weibo are most interested in. If you can also get followers to @you, use your hashtags, and or tag their location when they post, of course, all of these things also help to increase user-generated content, or the likelihood that you'll be able to find that content and then use it yourself. So apart from the normal kind of hashtag, which we've looked at, Weibo has a special kind of hashtag called a super topic. And you can see here in the image, the red arrow at the top of the image is pointing to the super topic. And in the super topic, the normal hashtag sign gets replaced by a kind of diamond or a Superman logo shape. And super topics get their own customizable landing page, which we'll look at later. And they're a great way of creating a community on Weibo, increasing user-generated content and generating buzz. So basically, anyone can apply to create a super topic on Weibo. And once you've created one, you'll be the admin of the topic, which means that you will get to choose the images for the landing page, and you'll also have some kind of editing rights. Like, for instance, you'll be able to delete posts that tag the super topic. So as I mentioned before, I will be sending out a PDF of all of these slides, so you'll have the instructions on hand. But basically, to create a super topic, you first go to the Discover section on Weibo, then you click on Group, then you go to Super Topic Recommendations. That will take you to a new page where it has recommended super topic and super topics, and then you press the plus sign to add a new one, and you can write the name of the super topic and apply to add that. I should note that you can create a super topic even if there's already a hashtag being used for something, if it's a normal hashtag and not a super topic. So we'll look a bit later at the super topic that From Peru created, which is Peru travel. And that exists as a super topic on Weibo, and it also exists as a normal hashtag. So the two can coexist. So finally, for the Weibo content section, destination accounts can work together with Sina Travel to get specially designed posters and to get help from Weibo's official travel platform to promote the posters. So this service is provided free for Dragon Trail clients because of our long-term cooperation with Sina Weibo, but it may be available as well for free to other tourism board accounts who look into doing it directly with Weibo. So basically, they'll create a poster around a certain theme for you, and then you need to post this poster with some content and using a specific hashtag that you create together with Sina Travel. So now let's look into some case studies to see how these strategies play out for travel brands. First of all, we'll look at Visit Florida. Dragon Trail took over the Visit Florida Weibo account in March of 2018, and we've been able to double the follower numbers since then. Our strategy combines KOLs, user engagement, video content, and a number of consistently used hashtags. To raise engagement and interest on Weibo, we've run a number of giveaway campaigns. And all of these giveaway campaigns ask people who enter to repost in order to enter. So on WeChat, you are not, similar to Facebook, you're not meant to ask people to share content or follow your account in order to be able to enter a contest. However, people do that on WeChat all of the time anyway, but on Weibo, it's not only allowed, but it's something that is encouraged. So you can go right ahead and tell people to repost a post in order to enter the contest. And so, of course, this really increases the number of people who will see that post. So the prizes that we've been giving away in these 8 engagement campaigns, they're fairly small. There's no free trips to Florida or anything like that, but they've still resulted in lots of engagement and around 750,000 views per campaign. Video content is also very important to Visit Florida's content strategy, since it's more engaging and videos allow us to share much more information and impressions about Florida than simply using text or a single photo. So the way we create the video content for Visit Florida is we take their existing video assets and then our team edits them to localize the videos for a Chinese audience. So as you can see, some of the top videos in the past year have got over 3 million views. User-generated content is also an important part of Visit Florida's strategy, and our team searches every day for the best posts about Florida on Weibo to share from Visit Florida's account by using location tags and hashtags that people have added to their posts, or if they've mentioned the Visit Florida account in their post. Another part of our work for Visit Florida is reputation management. So this includes providing monthly reports on the top posts on Weibo and WeChat relating to Florida. So this includes kind of news stories as well as travel related content. And we also track all of the comments on Visit Florida's Weibo posts and interact with those on behalf of Visit Florida. So for instance, responding to or reposting positive comments and answering people's questions. So our next case study is Peru, the Peruvian National Tourism Board. As I mentioned earlier, super topics on Weibo get their own customizable landing page, and the image that you can see here is the landing page for the super topic Peru travel, which was created by Peru. So this topic currently has almost 900 followers, and as we'll see later, the super topic is attached to all of Peru's Weibo posts. So somebody also asked in the morning session today about how these super topics help to drive engagement. And I would say there's a couple of different ways that they help with that. And the first of which is that they create a community. And so you can get to this landing page for the super topic and see not only all of the posts that Peru has created officially using the super topic, but any kind of post that's posted by a KOL or a traveler visiting Peru who's also used that super topic. They're all in one place on one page. And the same thing, it doesn't work like that quite the same way for a regular hashtag. At the same time, it creates this community where you can see all of the other people who are following the account and click on that to see who's following as well. So it is something a bit special and different, and I think it kind of elevates the topic on Weibo. So video content is also has been a very important part of Peru's China marketing strategy in the past year on many different platforms, Weibo included. So this all started with a 2-week trip and filming project for 2 Chinese KOLs in Peru that we organized at the end of 2017. And this footage has since been used to create 37 different short videos, all about different themes that have been published on Weibo. So the most popular video so far has been this post on luxury travel. And you can see at the bottom of this post, below where you can see the video is a section indicating the super topic, and it has the icon for the super topic. So that's something, again, that you don't get if you just use a normal hashtag, and can help draw people's attention to this topic. The last case study that we'll look at is Norway. So this one is not a Dragon Trail client, but it's a very interesting case that we've been following closely. Last November, Norway started a big marketing campaign in China to launch the first direct flights between Beijing and Oslo. And these flights were announced during the visit of Norway's king and queen to China last October. So I started to notice that Norway's posts on WeChat were doing really well. They were getting much higher views than posts by Visit Norway normally do, and Norway was much higher up on the WeChat rankings that we do every week than it normally is. But it was only in May at Dragon Trail's summit in Beijing that I learned from the director of the Sina Travel channel about what Visit Norway was doing on Weibo at the exact same time, which is also a very interesting and successful campaign. So Norway partnered together with Sina Travel to create a really beautiful content campaign around the hashtag Meeting Beautiful Norway. So they created around 100 pieces of content published on 4 different themes on beautiful scenery, delicious food, rich experience, and charming autumn and winter. And they also got 35 different KOLs to participate in this campaign. So the results were 80 million impressions on Weibo, as well as 38,000 interactions. Sina Travel also launched a KOL contest to be named Lord of the Fjords, in which 1,000 travel KOLs participated, all posting about Norway to try to be named Lord of the Fjords. So this contest also helped to raise awareness about Norway as a travel destination with the hashtags Lord of the Fjords and Norway Powered by Nature. And it also made Norway help to market it as a cool travel destination on Weibo. So last on our agenda today is Weibo Advertising. This is information that I already covered in our webinar earlier in the year on advertising, so I'm going to go over it quite quickly now for those of you who may have already joined that webinar. But for those of you who would like more information on any of it, you can review the recording of our March webinar either on our website or on our YouTube channel if you want a longer explanation on any of this. So Weibo has 4 main advertising options, and the CPM, so cost per 1,000 views, is much cheaper than it is on WeChat. However, as we've seen earlier, it's much easier to get views on Weibo than it is on WeChat. So the first kind of Weibo ad is called Fanstong, and it helps you to reach more people who are outside of your existing follower group based on targeting criteria that you get to choose. So this will promote a certain post to a targeted group of people who are not already following you. Fans Headline is the second kind of Weibo advertising, and this is advertising that is served only to your existing followers. So this is if you have some kind of post or campaign and you want to make sure that people who are interested in your brand and following you see it. So it basically puts the post at the top of their newsfeed for a 24-hour period. Weibo also offers search advertising, which is SEM for Weibo, and allows you to create a customizable Weibo search page for when people search for your brand name or related keywords. And then finally, you can pay to cooperate with Sina Travel on content marketing during their official Travel with Weibo campaign every year. So this is actually different to the Sina Travel cooperation that we looked at before, that I mentioned was free for destinations. And these kind of official campaigns are open to more different kinds of travel brands, including hotels, airlines, and cruise lines. So before we move on to the Q&A section, I would like to let you know about our next webinar, since it's coming up in just 3 weeks. We will be introducing you to a number of new digital marketing tools for working with the Chinese travel trade. These include training courses that are offered through WeChat mini programs, WeChat pop-up stores, and our newly launched digital trade show, The Next Travel Market. You can learn more about the webinar and register for that already on our website, or through the link below, which you'll receive in the PDF of the presentation, or just by going to the events section of our website. So now I'll move on to the Q&A section. Of course, if you're interested in learning more about our Weibo services and how we could help you specifically with your Weibo marketing and have specific questions about that, you can always contact us directly. My email is on the screen now, and you can also email communications@dragontrail.com. So now I will have a look at the questions. I see that there are quite a few of them.